What is top tier? Been hearing that a lot. What's top tier? Well, depending on who you ask, you're going to get a different answer, a different response. Well, let me tell you, from my own experiences, I've discovered that there are three things that stand out as top tier to me. Hi, I'm Stephanie Solomon, and welcome to Winning Ways. I know it's been a minute. There have been so many shifts and transitions. I'm still here, everybody. I'm still here. I'm just not on a scheduled time. So I pop in when I can. And tonight is one of those evenings. So I'm going to be brief as we're changing the format a little bit over here, but I'm still here. All right, look, I want to run by you some things from my three new writing babies. Yes, yes, yes. And I just asked the question, what is top tier? What is top tier? What is top tier to you? You know, you're going to get different answers. And depending on where we are in our life journey, what matters to us, what our values are, our core values, what we live for in life, we're going to find some similarities and we're going to find a lot of differences. Well, I want to share my three top tiers for me. There are more, but these three came about through transitions, plural, simultaneous transitions, and being coming out on the other side of those and working through those transitions. I had some takeaways. I mean, what's life without lessons, right? So I had some takeaways, and those takeaways led to this series, Emerging with Balance, Emerging with Forgiveness, and Emerging with EQ, Emotional Intelligence. Now, there's more inside of me, absolutely. But this trio right here is my latest work, all right? And there are many books. Look how thin they are. Look how thin. That's a quick read, y'all. Quick read. The thickest book is Emerging with Forgiveness. Look at the binder on that. That's pretty thin, right? Many books, thin yet very impactful. I learned a lot and I believe in sharing, right? I'm not a gatekeeper, right? I don't block. I'm going to share and be transparent. All right. So I share here what I learned through my transitions and exploring me. Now, each of these books, they're all a blessing. They all have an audio version. That's something new that I've been doing. So, audio version of each one. I'm going to talk a little more about where you can purchase them in a minute. Well, let's look at the takeaways, right? Some of the takeaways that I have. Oh, there are just so many, so many. Well, the first takeaway that I got led to emerging with balance, right? I believe that we need to live a balanced life. If you're like many of us, life can be and is overwhelming. We have responsibilities uh, in the workplace, within our families, their responsibility, multiple responsibilities in one place. Some of us were working on jobs where uh, the job description said one thing, but come on, you were doing other things. You were a nurse, you were being a counselor, even though there was a school counselor. You were being a counselor for your colleagues, for parents, oh, for everybody. Oh my God. But you're doing multiple, you're juggling other acts. Many of you, like me, you're involved in different sectors of society. You're in this organization, that organization. And if we're not careful, I'm not saying you're just finding things to be busy. Um, you and I will find that we are just moving through life without much meaning, and we'll find our body will break down on us. We'll find that our emotions will become flared and irritable. Hi, everybody joining on. Hey there. Hey there. Comment if you have a comment. Good to see you out. Good to see you on tonight. All right. So Emerging with balance came about because of the weight that I saw within my own life and in the lives of people around me that we were carrying because we were loyal to what we said yes to, what we committed to, whether it was to a job, a person, whatever. And walking away and saying no, quitting wasn't even in our heads, right? That wasn't. But we were being broken down because of our commitment. So I learned, one of the takeaways I learned through my transition and my exploration of self was that we can create balance. We can curate balance. Most of us already have at least one or two things in life that are our happy places, right? Things that we do, and we can bring them all together to create, to curate uh, ways and acts of balance in our lives. Okay. We can also cultivate, we can also commit to balance, and we can celebrate balance. So I want you to read the book so that you understand a little better, because I'm not going to read that to you tonight, but I am going to read an excerpt from the conclusion of the first installment, Emerging with Balance, something that we have. It matters, and we truly have to buy into it. Balance is not a destination. It's a daily decision. It's an evolving journey made up of intentional choices that support our emotional, spiritual, mental, and relational well being. Each of the 5 C's, I mentioned them earlier: creating, curating, cultivating, committing, and celebrating, invites us all to pause, reflect, and align our life with what truly matters. Okay, so that's a tidbit from Emerging with, excuse me, Emerging with Balance. Stay with me, and I'll be right back with the second installment from the Emerging series. I am excited about new additions to my author store from the Emerging series. 3 impactful e-mini books with their own audio version narrated by yours truly. Enjoy a complimentary gift with your purchase. Scan the QR code and click the link to start growing on the go today. Yes, that's my hashtag for this. Grow on the go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, the second installment of the Emerging series is Emerging with Forgiveness. Now, for those of you who follow me, you know that I wrote back in 1997 Conversations with the King. And there's a chapter in there called Forgiveness is Not an Option. That was the most popular chapter, and it remains. It's coming in second now, but it remained for a very long time the most talked about writing of all, even when I wrote other books. Aging with Grace is now leading the way in conversation. But that chapter, even when I run into people who purchased the book over 20 years ago, they still talk about that chapter, how it was life changing for them. Now, when I wrote that book 20 years ago, I was dealing with 2 matters, two situations where forgiveness had to be implemented, executed by me so that I would be a healthy person mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And what I wrote about then still stands. It does. But trust me, since 1997, I've had to continue to forgive myself. I've made some major blunders, and I've had to forgive others since. So forgiveness hasn't changed. The requirement is still there, but my definition, my interpretation, my understanding of forgiveness has heightened. And I talk about that. Remember, I started by saying I went through simultaneous transitions. One of the takeaways was dealing with forgiveness. This round was was a bit different, and it showed me something more about myself. And it was so intense for me that during the pandemic, I became a certified forgiveness life coach. In doing that, I realized, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here because individuals were coming, different stories, different experiences, but they all had a warped understanding or idea of forgiveness. All right. And so, what I talk about or write about, well, actually talk about in the audiobook, is what forgiveness is not, what it's not. And one of the things it's not trust. And I just want to read you a short excerpt from the chapter. What is this one? What forgiveness is not. All right. Forgiveness is not trust. After forgiving, you may still set limits on how much of your heart or space someone gets. Boundaries. This is not to say that we may never trust ourselves or someone who offended us again. We may, with godly wisdom and direction, or we may not. Understand that forgiveness may open the door to healing, but it does not swing open the gate to trust. Too often, people expect that when forgiveness is offered, full proximity or intimacy should be restored, as if that proves trust has been regained. Forgiveness. So, forgiveness is not an option. That was what? 2.0. This is now 2.2 on forgiveness. Check it out. It's available on Amazon at my author store, as well as the ticker that you see going across the screen. Struggling to forgive yourself or heal from church hurt or family offenses? With life coaching from Evolve for Life, you'll be equipped and empowered to grow, move forward, and thrive in your personal development. Sign up today and begin your transformation. All right, we're getting down to the wire, and I see I'm going to put up a comment here from one of our viewers. Thank you so much. Forgive, but set boundaries. Exactly, Stancy. Exactly. Boundaries is such a big deal. Sometimes that word in itself is overworked, but when used correctly, I'm telling you, we can go places. All right, the third installment, emerging with EQ, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence seems to be a buzz phrase. Every so often we get these buzz terms that are out and about. And I notice sometimes people will say them, use them flippantly, not knowing what they mean. During my transition, not only was forgiveness heightened, but also my awareness of my emotions. Hey there. Hey. My emotional self. There were things that I did that I didn't know are considered as emotional intelligent. And then there were things I had no clue of. Some of you know I'm a curious person, right? So I really dug deep into this emotional intelligence piece. I got so I just embraced it so because it really intrigued me, because I saw myself in so many spaces, and then I saw where I wanted to see myself. I saw improvement. I saw a need for improvement. All right. So emotional intelligence is something that I gravitated to, liked it so much. Guess what? Not only did I become a certified forgiveness life coach, I became a certified emotional intelligence practitioner as well. I love it. I really do. So when you read this Small read. Again, look how thin that is. Look how thin that is, y'all. It's not a lot. It really isn't. But trust me, I've already heard people say they've gone back and read 2 and 3 times over because it was so much to absorb. It was just impactful, and that was good to hear. Let me just read you a short excerpt from the introduction of Emerging with EQ. We were created to evolve, emotionally, mentally, relationally, and spiritually. Yet many of us get stuck, not because we lack faith or intelligence, but because we lack awareness. Emerging with EQ invites you into a space of awakening where self-awareness sharpens, emotional maturity deepens, and spiritual discernment heightens. We can have great faith, but still hurt others unknowingly when we lack awareness. We may be emotionally expressive, but not emotionally intelligent, leaving us misunderstood or misled. We can even show up in rooms we're called to, but miss a sacred moment because we didn't read the room, or worse, override God's gentle nudge. I get excited reading my own stuff. Well, those are the three books, y'all. 3 books to Emerging with series. So get your copies today. If you're one who I've even had people say this, some were embarrassed, some weren't. I'm not a reader, but I want the information. And I'm so glad that you addressed my learning style by creating an audiobook. So, hey, they're the audiobooks. They're available for your download. Well, that's it for tonight. I'm only going to share little bits and pieces, as I've been doing in the past, from each book. And I hope that you have heard something that sounded the alarm. I'm looking for my little notes here. They just disappeared. And within you to, have you go out and purchase and ultimately become a better you, right? All right. Well, hopefully I'll be on, if not next week, the week after, whenever I can get on, I'll be on. All right. Life has been lifing, and I am finding balance. I'm taking my own medicine. I am finding balance. I am balancing, but there are some things I know is the season for me to do, and I am prioritizing those things. All right. So, folks, do what you can. Buy these books. These are resources for your growing. I'm all about growing, right? Becoming a better person. Get refreshed and revived as you grow. Speaking of revival, let's look here real quick. Hey, look at what's going on over here. We are having revival. Yes, indeed. We are having revival at New Psalmist Baptist Church in November 6th, 7th, and 9th. And if you want to be refreshed, get a better, bigger perspective on life, and come on out, okay, for that revival encounter. Hope to see you there. All right. Well, everybody, that's it for tonight. Until the next time, remember to grow through whatever it is that you go through. Why is that? Because your growth is your superpower. Until the next time, take care.